call.
I can. Steve.
Here.
Leah. Here. Rocky.
Present.
Mark.
Present.
Carla. Present. All right.
All right. So we're going to have the budget session workshop tonight, but I just got this today. Monday, I met with Brenico about getting these water meters installed, and so I want to talk to this guy for a long time. I told him, I said, you know, we seem to have some complaints sometimes about people not having proper pressure, water pressure, and so on. So I asked him, I said, is there a way to, when these are installed, to check and document the water pressure from these meters as they're installed, so they're brand new, installed, and we see the water pressure that's coming from them. And then also be able to see what they test as a flow, because the static pressure can just be one thing, and how much pressure you have after you open the thing up is another. So we need to know those two things. And he said he would be able to create a device that he'd be able to do that with. So his proposal is to flush the service lines to clear any obstructions or sediment that would be in the main from construction. Take a static water pressure reading and a full flow pressure reading after the meter, and report to the town clerk and report the meter and the radio number per unit. They're going to install the antenna in the meter unit as well. And so the quote is for $255 to install each meter. If we can give him 4 or more at a time to install, there would be a savings of 15%. So,
would that ever be possible? I mean,
right now we have 10 that need to be installed.
Really?
Yes. That fast.
Well, they just buttoned up 6 or 7 houses over there, so I'm sure those are the ones that want the meter in. And they're pretty much, I know there's at least 2 more that have started within the last week or so, so they're slapping them up pretty quick over there.
So I think we'll have another 20, 25, 30. I don't know how many more houses will be done for all of phase 3, which is a ways off yet. But we're obligated to get these to them. So,
Mark, I have a question. I mean, what if, because sometimes we only get 1 or 2.
Right. If we do, then we can. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Sorry, cutting it close.
That's okay.
Thanks.
If we do, then then we'll contact them and see if they got some more that will be coming down the line shortly, and see if we can delay it. Try and do it in this group of 4 or more. Is that what you were thinking, Steve?
Well, I mean, obviously, if we can do them in groups, that'd be the best thing to do.
Right.
And a pit should already be in place before they don't necessarily need to have the house done as long as the pit's in place.
So they've already paid their fees and everything to us, and they've been waiting for these 5 for some time now.
What's the fee for a pit for having it installed?
So it starts with the water and sewer permit, and then from there they get the building permit from the county. And then once the house is ready to have water, then they come to us, fill out a utility application just like any new resident would, and pay the $125 deposit, the meter deposit. And then they get that deposit back once the house sells, and their account's at a 0.
So there's no fee for putting in the pit or putting in the meter?
No.
So I'd like to make a motion to allow me to sign this, run a code for them to install new water meters as required.
No, I second. You gonna talk to anybody else? This is the only person we know.
This This is the only person I've had a chance to talk to.
Is this something that Nate was doing before he left?
Yes,
Yeah. So this is just temporary then until we get somebody hired that can do it.
It's, it needs somebody hired and trained. Right away out of backup.
And you made the motion, you should say.
Some further discussion.
Okay.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Leah.
okay, how do you vote, Carla?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Leah?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we all know that, well, I assume everybody knows that the air conditioning went out here. And Bridget had contacted, said she was, said she had contacted Brand to come out and see if they could just get the thing going again. Apparently the compressor on the unit is put, and so the recommendation was to change it. He said the furnace is not far behind. So then she comes back and she can tell you the second company she contacted, and I'll let her tell you. Who was the second company you contacted?
Brand, Yoder, Blue Fox.
Okay. Yoder came out. Brand told you that the compressor was shot.
Yes,
Yes. And the furnace is not quite on.
correct.
And then when Yoder came in, they confirmed that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then today, Blue Fox came and gave an estimate. And then we Keys Heating and Cooling, Stephen Keys, who is from here in town. He just provided us a quote as well. So I don't know what the other quotes look like. Tell you this one from Stephen Keys.
And all of these are for heating and cooling.
Well, Blue Fox gave, Brands gave, if you look at the, okay, Blue Fox gave a quote just for the AC, and then they gave an additional quote for the AC and the furnace.
That's what they're, because the numbers are the same. So I was trying to figure out what they did.
On Keys, the 14 SEER air conditioning unit, the higher the SEER number is, the more efficient the unit is. He said that right now, the one we have is 13 SEER, so it would be essentially the same. And a two-stage, 96% efficient furnace. And this is for $8,100 that's installed.
Is that for AC and the furnace?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Yoder?
It should be on there. I bet. Yoder looks like just the AC from the dollar amount from here.
Yeah, I was gonna say this doesn't look the same.
And we don't have to make a decision on this tonight, but sure. It happens. It happened Monday.
Last Thursday or Friday.
So Brand, theirs is trying to see what the size is. Not also 100,000 BTU, 96 efficiency, 14 SEER air conditioning, $9,636.
That's Brand.
That's
That's
just for
Brand.
the AC or both?
That's
Mark?
for both.
Tell me the number.
$9,636 for Brand. Both. For Keys, it was $8,100.
That was also good.
That was for both. Blue Fox, theirs is a 3-ton, 13.4 SEER air conditioner only. That is $5,194
Just for the AC.
just for the AC. Make sure. Then let's see here. They also quoted the AC and the furnace. Looks like the same AC unit, 13.4 SEER. Furnace, 95%. This is single stage, as opposed to a double stage. 100,000 BTU furnace. That total came to, with the furnace and the air conditioner, $8,931. And then Yoder, also a 3-ton air conditioner, doesn't give the SEER rating on it. Looks like this one is only for the air conditioning unit. $4,900.
What's the warranty on any of them? Do you know?
Yeah, they probably all have a 10-year parts warranty. Yoder says 10-year parts, 5-year labor. Blue Fox, the furnace has a 10-year manufacturer's warranty. I think that's pretty standard. I just had a new furnace for the 10 years.
Did you not say that Yoder also confirmed that the?
Yes, all of them did.
Yeah.
Every single
They
one.
didn't quote the furnace.
Then I think my suggestion would be is that they quote Yoder for both, just the AC.
I'm not sure, what was the name of the company who's local?
Stephen.
Keys.
What machine are they using?
Right.
Yeah.
You want the furnace from Keys? Is that what you're asking me?
Furnace AC, who they're using, Train?
Kind of interesting enough, when I got this furnace, it had some stickers that you could choose who the brand was that you put on it.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's manufactured by the same people.
I can't tell you for sure.
That's okay.
I can tell you what the identification number is on it. If you want me to,
What were your options for your labels?
I don't remember. One of them was a brand name that you would have recognized.
So they did your place?
They did the house next door. Redid it. So I don't know. Our lowest bid is the $8,100 from Stephen Keys, right? Except,
I mean,
Well, Yoder didn't bid both pieces, so he's kind of out of it. And it looks like it's Keys, Fox, and a brand as far as pricing goes. And if you've got experience with Keys and they're local, but I always like keeping the business in town if we can, as long as they've been around long enough to a 10-year warranty means something.
he's for real. I can vouch for him. The job he did for me is outstanding.
I know his dad owned or was part owner of Lafayette Heating and Cooling, and he worked there for a long time, really not on his own.
Because I know Fox put our system in, and I've been really pleased with that. That's why I had them call. But Like I said, the Keys is the lowest bid, and he's local and he's been around for long enough that we can pin him, and you like what you got. I have no problem with that.
Is that a motion?
Sure. Let's make a motion to accept Keys' bid on replacing the AC in the furnace.
Second.
Motion made by Steve and seconded by Carla.
Okay, Carla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rocky,
Yes.
Leah,
Yes. Because the other thing is, it's probably going to take him a while to get all this stuff.
do you want me to call him or do you want to reach out to him?
I'll call him.
Okay.
He probably got his warehouse over here.
Let's hope.
Well, he'll get
Let's
from
hope.
the local place here. He can probably get it tomorrow. All right,
The
so.
AC is the most important.
Pardon?
The AC is most important right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll realize that.
Furnace not so critical, but
All right, sorry to interrupt your.
Will you do me a favor though, when you
Sure.
call him to see if that includes like a routine maintenance and to let us know, like once he installs it, what type of filter and how often we should replace it. Okay,
We'll get all that information.
thank you. Okay, so I put in front of Mark, Carla, and Leah because of utilities. The gal came in from Indiana Alliance and they do training for the water, wastewater portion of the utility superintendent job, so I gave you her business card. That's it on that. So that's what that card's for.
So when we finally get somebody, we can. this is what
Yes,
we
they
can
do
have
training, and she even said that there's grants out there for the training purposes, so we all have her business card. Okay, so budget. We're gonna hammer away on this. So basically in front of you, you have the appropriation report.
and this is the one dated 7/11.
This is the one dated 6/1/2024 through 6/30/2024, the appropriation report.
I grabbed the wrong one.
No, that's the right one. It's, you're right, it is dated 7/11, but if you look underneath the report, it says appropriation report.
Ah, okay.
It says from 6/1 to 6/30. See
Thank
it?
you, Rocky.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's 10 pages long. And then you should have the budget form 1, budget estimate. Do you have it, Leah? Pardon?
Number K, there you go.
There you go.
Good job.
Okay, so we're basically just going to go through each line item, and as you can see on the appropriation report under current, that's what was budgeted for 2024. And then go down to where it says EXP-MTD, and that's what's expended that month. And then next to that is expended year to date. And then to the far right, it says percent left. So that's the percentage that's left in that fund that's available. So we're basically just going to go through each line item, and the numbers were basically piggybacked off the current column from the appropriation report onto the budget estimate form.
Bridget, did you say EXP month to date or year to date?
EXP-MTD is on there,
Month to date. Okay.
and that's month to date, and then EXP right next door to it is year to date. Correct. So we're basically going to go through every line item on the budget form.
Yeah.
And where it says published, this is the number that we're going to work with. Okay? But it has not been published yet. So it won't be
So it is
published
for
until-
25.
Yes, we're
This is what
working
we're
on
doing,
2025 budget. And then come September's meeting, we'll have a public hearing. The budget will be posted. The proposed budget will be posted. And in front of you, I put another sheet of paper, and that's basically what will be published.
But this sheet of paper that she gave put in front
Was
of
from
us
last
is
year.
from last
It's just an
year's
example of what will be published.
budget. Just as an example.
Well, this
And then-
isn't really anything.
It's just an example, yes, of what will be published in September.
If you've been on the board last year, then this is what you would have signed for last year.
And then in October, the budget gets adopted, signed, and submitted. So as I stated in the email, there are funds that we won't discuss, which is anything that's on your utility bill, the water, wastewater, stormwater, sanitation, as those are not appropriated funds. So there's nothing that I have to report to Gateway, and it's nothing that's included in the budget. Okay, so that's basically where we're going to go, but we are going to skip over and come back to the council salaries and non-elected and elected salaries, if that's okay with all of you. Okay, so the first one should be Casino Riverboat. And right now I have it published at $25,000. And it should be on page 3. And last year we published we budgeted 70, it's on page 3 of your appropriation report. Last year we budgeted $73,000, and this was to offset when we knew we were going to buy a new police vehicle. We took it out of Riverboat, Rainy Day, and Lit, which is the police fund. So this year I took it down to $25,000. And Casino Riverboat is one of those funds that you can spend money out of this fund for any legal purpose.
It's on the third page.
Third page of the appropriation report.
You said page 3.
Yeah, of the appropriation report, and it goes, it's fund number 2235, and it says Riv dash other services and which is charges. Category 3.
That's why I couldn't.
That's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It's
I was
not
looking for
listed on
Riverboat.
Riverboat.
Yeah,
page.
Riverboat, all written out. No, it's abbreviated.
Okay, so the police car part is taken out.
Correct. Correct. Part of the $73,000, the current budget for 2024. So next year I'm proposing $25,000 to be spent. And again, it's for any legal purpose. And just because we budget the money does not mean we have to spend it.
Although they do like you to.
More particularly out of the general fund, because Riverboat is not property tax money. The only two funds that are property tax monies are the general and CCD, which is your cumulative capital development fund. The other are considered miscellaneous revenue, and they come from excise taxes, different sources. Casino Riverboat comes from the casino riverboats, the percentage that all the riverboats in Indiana, every little town, city gets a little percentage of that money.
Okay, so it says current 73,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Expense this year to date is 34,000.
Yes,
It's some change.
and part of that was police car.
Okay.
And again, that's a fund that you can spend it on any legal purpose.
So for instance.
And 38,943 is that what's left of that 73,000?
Yes, yes.
And,
And
we're
then it will
proposing
tell
that
you, it'll tell
next
you
year
what
we'll use
percent.
25,000.
We don't have to. That's
But
what
that's
I'm
what we're
proposing
budgeting
we
for.
budget for, right.
That's
Okay.
not added to that. That's just for going back and it down.
You start all over every year. You start a new year. You don't,
Okay.
And the 38,943, what goes that? Where does that go?
the what?
Is it just sitting in that account?
Yes, yeah, it just sits in that fund, correct. You know, and just keep in mind that the budget you guys are looking at, this estimated budget is, it's just money that's sustainable and fundable that we're spending. This is all fundable. It's not money that I think we're gonna get. It's money that we're actually going to get. Or money that we already have on hand. So do you guys agree with that number?
And years that we didn't buy a cruiser,
Mm-hmm.
what has our budget been?
Well, I can only go by last year. I haven't gone back to years past.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there any reason we wouldn't want this number to be higher?
Well, we could. It's up to you guys. Like I said, it's one of those funds that it's for any legal purpose. So it's so broad, unlike NVH or local road and streets, where you're restricted as to what you can spend those monies on. So Riverboat's one of those open funds where you can.
So
I could buy you new nameplates or new flags.
we
out of
can
that.
pay for this furnace and air conditioner for this. if we did.
Absolutely.
That
Yes.
seems appropriate.
Yes.
So my question, so there's 38,000 left.
Mhm.
You're proposing to spend 25,000 of what's in the fund to put in the budget, so technically there's still another 13,000 sitting there.
Yes,
Just 25 is gonna be in the budget.
right, so keep in mind,
So
when
it's
you,
still there.
correct, yes, yes.
So if we need to, we could appropriate into that if we needed it for that, if we needed it.
We're not limiting ourselves. If
No,
something came up and we needed to spend more than the 25K we budgeted, we can do that, right?
we can do that by one of two things. You can transfer from one fund to another, or you can ask for additional appropriations. Both actions take an additional appropriations into the Department of Local Government Services, which is DLGF, which is linked to Gateway. It's where all the reporting's done. It has to be published, and then you have to have a public hearing for it, and in the form of an ordinance.
And if we budget more money but then don't use it, what's the downside?
Nothing. We just don't spend it.
I didn't know if it hit us like, hey, they don't know how to budget. 'Cause they're budgeting.
No. Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
So,
Well, not on this one, not on this one, right? No, I'm saying they don't want to ding you on this.
No.
But-
General fund, if you, year after year after year after year,
You're off.
if you're way off, then yes, they're like, okay, why are you budgeting so much money, but yet you're not spending it? Because the general fund and the CCD fund, that's money, revenues from property taxes. But then the state also has a cap, and this year it's 4%, that they cannot, our budget can't exceed that. We can't spend more than, we can't budget more than the 4%,
increase.
correct. They won't allow us to have the potential of raising an individual's property taxes by 4%, which is basically turns out to be like a nickel for every $100 of assessed value.
I would probably feel more comfortable bumping this up to 30,000.
Okay.
25, in case, I don't know, we gotta buy new mower or transmission goes out on the truck. I don't know.
Right.
Give us some flexibility, and then we don't have to go back in and do an additional appropriation. You know, have
We
full spend.
have other line items for some of those things, though, right?
Right.
So.
But like I said, Riverboat's one of those funds that it's for any legal purpose. That's
I don't agree.
30.
But I'm saying just like, if we use, say, $9,043 to put in this air conditioner furnace, which is not, we still have 30,000 carrying over plus the 25.
We don't
Okay.
carry over anything.
Huh?
We start fresh each year. But it'll show
I
me,
thought it
okay,
stayed in there.
it does stay in there, but we can't say, I can't carry over funds from previous years. You start fresh each year. The money, there may be
Oh,
100.
I see what you're
Yes.
saying. The money's in there, but you only appropriate.
Spreadsheet accounting, money.
Gotcha. I'm with you now.
Yeah. Okay,
This
so
isn't one of my best things.
Well,
It's
the
very
state doesn't make it
confusing.
any easier
No,
by,
I'm a little
and I'm
slow.
still learning all this. It's very, very,
I kind of lean towards what Mark's saying. I think I'd rather we had an extra put aside, and then if we don't need it, hey, we had a good year.
okay, so 30,000. Rainy day. Currently we budgeted $40,000. We've spent year to date almost $6,000. I'm sorry, Rocky, rainy days fund, it's on the same page as Riverboat,
Just above.
Last two,
and it's fund number 2236.
we're in the day other services.
And rainy days on page 1 of the budget.
Yeah.
So I just have $7,000 down there, but last year we did 40,000. But rainy day is one of those funds where there's no money coming in from that fund. It's all in how we can receipt money in from. Ken Taylor wants to donate to the town $10,000. We can put it into a rainy day fund. So there's not revenue that comes from.
So it's not fed from outside.
So
In fact, some people even take their rainy day fund and put it into the general fund. So that's why that number is where it's at.
How is it that
We
with 40,000?
we did police car and to have it equipped. So it came out of 3 different funds. And then we have the community center in mind. And that's another fund for any legal purpose.
So what's the downside of leaving it at $40,000?
We can do that.
And where does it come from, technically speaking?
This is money that's just accumulated over the years, excess receipts that come in, and yeah, we don't get money from any type of like excise tax and.
So is there $40,000 in there now?
Well, okay, so look over, there's still 34,000. We've spent 85, we have 85% of our monies left.
Okay, so, but since you couldn't budget more than
Correct.
34,000, right?
Correct.
And that's why she probably put down 7,000, 40,000. No, again, I did it wrong.
It's.
I know.
I mean, if we want to budget more, I would think we'd probably go more like 20K, just to keep a balance in the rainy day fund.
So we don't have to have a special meeting to appropriate.
Okay, so my 20, is that what I'm hearing?
What do you think? We can't, I mean, I'm opposed to doing 40 if we've only got 30-some thousand in there.
Right. So.
And like I said, if we don't spend it, we don't spend it.
Right.
It's not like we have
No,
to
it's just,
spend it.
it's
Right.
literally emergency, like rainy day fund, so.
So you're saying 20?
I just, 7 seems light to me, but I don't know, so you just.
Well, I'm thinking we got 34 in there. I guess the question will become how much of it we spend by the end of this year, right? Because that number will change.
Correct.
And then next year, we wouldn't want our budget to be more than we actually, otherwise we'd be backwards on it.
Right.
So 20, that would give us another 14,000 to be able to spend this year
If we had to.
If we had to. Or we could do 20. We could publish 24,000 and know we get 10,000 to spend this year. I'm not trying to negotiate necessarily, but I'd like to keep it as funded as possible. That way going into next year. But then we'll definitely limit ourselves to what we could do this year.
Well, and my only feeling is that because this is it's a non-funded, it's not
We don't have
gonna,
any money for it.
yeah, there's not gonna grow back. So I'm kind of.
It's like a rainy day for our rainy day fund.
Right, I'm a little worried about, hey, we use it as, if there's a ton of money there, we have the instant try to use it, unless we figure out some way to put money back into it through. I don't know how we would raise money to put back into it.
Fine without stretching it too much.
Okay, so 20. Okay. So then on the first page of your budget, we have everything in the general fund that has to do with salaries and wages. We're skipping that part, and we're going to go to the second page of the budget, which is general, and then we start with office supplies. And that is on the first page of the appropriation report, category 2.
Category 2?
Yes. First page of the appropriation report. General office supplies. So we budgeted 5,000. We currently have 69% left. And I proposed, where am I? 5. I proposed the same.
I think that's fair.
I'm sorry, but are we on, do we work off a fiscal year or a calendar year?
Calendar.
January through December.
So
That sounds low.
yeah,
Because we still have like 69% left for
Yes,
this year's budget, so it seems like
that's a
pretty
good number.
appropriate.
Does the computer systems fall under this?
The general fund, so I could, no. I mean, because computer systems are bigger. They're in our like 300 or 400 series. So those are bigger items.
Okay, so if you needed a new computer tomorrow, it doesn't come out of this. Okay.
No, so paper, pens, pencils, ink.
Basic office supplies.
Yeah, that
So
kind of stuff.
copier would also fall under that,
Yes, under bigger stuff. Yes, because my copier is.
which we need to consider. She needs a new copier.
But I'm going to milk that thing until it just.
Well, but we have to be
Because-
prepared for it if it's getting to that
I
point.
think it's been on its last leg for the last 2 years, but.
Like
So does that come out of office supplies then?
no.
Oh, okay.
So it would fall
that-
under like the same.
But like an
computer.
operating supply, that can come out of, it could come out of that, which is right underneath there.
Okay, so office supplies you budgeted for 5K,
Yeah,
which is what you did last year?
yes.
Okay.
And we're at 69, we still have 69% left. Okay, then
Sounds like you
under,
did a hell of a job.
then under operating supplies, I have $19,800 was what was appropriated last year. This year I have 16,008.
Because we haven't spent.
And we have 84% left because we have not spent that much money.
What, give me an example of operating supplies,
Well, operating
what that
supplies,
means to you here.
well, at a computer, for example.
So that's where
Yes,
this falls,
yeah.
under that.
Mhm.
And when was the last time we updated the computers?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, not this past 4 years, but on the previous board, before this last board, they replaced.
So they're 8 years old?
I thought we got something,
We've got Mark Harlow, because his iPad
the iPad, yeah, that's different. I
Yeah.
thought we got a new computer.
for the
last
utility
year they-
superintendent.
Last year they put in a new server.
Yeah, new server, but
Oh, maybe
not
that's
new
what I'm thinking,
computers.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's one of those things that, I mean,
How are
we
they
want to
running?
wait for them to fail. We want to be
So far, so
pre-authorized.
good. I haven't,
You feel like you're sluggish, or they,
no, especially now that we have
it's
the.
just,
Do
it doesn't always
Do
necessary.
IT, where do IT charges come out?
That could come
Professional.
under professional services
Let's go.
and repairs and maintenance too, because if he's doing maintenance on a computer, I can take it out of that fund.
I think that 16.8 is in proper appropriation. I mean,
What do copiers run?
A good one, I have no idea now. I really don't. I haven't even priced one.
For what?
A decent copier.
Oh,
Or, I mean, even as just simple black and white, that'll let you duplex and scan and send it somewhere. Anything else that we need to do?
Why do you only want black and white? Sometimes color doesn't.
For scanning, color scanning is good. I don't know why would we need color printing?
I honestly, when I get an invoice, because State Board of Accounts looks at the original invoice. And if that original invoice is emailed to me colored, then I like it to remain colored when I print it off and attach it to the ATV. So
I don't think you pay over $5,000.
I would, I mean, that would be well, it's been a long time since I've been involved in purchasing a copier, but that used to be a lot of money for a copy.
Are we good with the 5,000 for office supplies?
For office supplies?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was
She's backtracking.
we went on to operating. I thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
5K is
operating.
fine.
Okay, operating, I have 16.8, last year it was 19.8, we still have 84% left.
And I think that's
16.8,
Yeah, because even if we have to buy a copier, we could pull that out of other funds too, right?
Right.
If we had to.
I think it's fine.
repairs and maintenance, supplies, I did bump that one up. It was at 2,000 last year, but as you can see, we only have 34% of that left.
Right.
And
So,
repair and maintenance supplies for
It could be anything, that we need, that we have to repair or maintain. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And this is just supplies for those maintenance, not the actual maintenance itself.
Correct.
So if we take a cruiser in to get service, this doesn't come out of this fund.
It can. Not out of, okay, so if Scott were to bring me an invoice or Nate and say, I look at the invoice, okay, this amount was for parts, this amount was for labor.
You can break it up.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
do. A
But
lot of times,
This isn't where we would maintenance the physical part, the actual
No.
labor part's gonna come out of this.
correct, that
5K
comes
might
under
be light for
services and
that. Okay.
charges.
No, that's just for supplies, that's fine.
So you're good with,
Mhm.
okay. And then other supplies. Is 10,000, no, I'm sorry,
Yeah, 10,000.
Yep.
Office
And
supplies / community enhancement or enrichment.
Richmond.
Are you guys good with that one?
Mhm.
Okay, then professional services.
And that's where the IT funds are gonna come out,
Correct.
right?
So professional services. Professional services, I jacked it up there to 75, no, I stayed the same. So they're both at 75,000.
And what did we do this year?
81, professional services could be anything. It could be paying for,
No, I get what it
No.
is. What do we spend, where are we?
So
We
year
are
to date,
at
we're
The very next line
14,000.
down.
Yeah.
Same
Oh,
spot
there it is,
as
thank
we're
you.
in.
So we're
I-
81% available still?
yes,
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
but we're gonna have professional services done like on this AC unit. So
It doesn't include office, things that we have to have done outside services for office.
yeah, professional services. So like
Is that where like the
Marcel's,
plumbing thing's gonna come out of or could come out of?
anything, any service that's
It's like the attorney.
yes, and
Professional
that's a
services,
professional service as
contracts.
well. Yes, Shannon, our grant writer.
So we've only spent 14,000 on that this year so far. That's
So are you guys good with keeping it the same?
Yes.
Okay, travel, mileage, reimbursements. We're way down. I mean, we're way up there. We haven't probably spent anything at 96%.
And we're at 4,300 budget?
But I do want to keep it the same.
Okay.
Because I can take even fuel expenses out of that.
That's good.
okay.
Okay, printing and advertising. Last year it was $1,000, and as you can see, we're down to 16%. So I bumped it up to $2,500 for printing and advertising.
Good.
You guys good with that? Okay, insurance. It was $32,000 last year. It goes up. So they budgeted $32,000. We have 45 of it left, so we're under half. So I bumped it up to 36.
I think it needs to be higher than
Okay.
When do we pay? When did this come due?
I
Is it
just
monthly?
paid that bill, 2 months ago, I think?
Is that annual?
Yes. Yes. Unless,
So how many different insurances do we have? Are they spread out, or we paid our insurance for the year?
yes, we have one insurance company that.
And that
covers it all.
insurance is for what? Liability insurance?
Yeah, everything, all of our,
that.
yeah,
Building insurance.
So we're paid up for the
Building
year.
charges to
Yes.
the Community center next year. Over
currently,
there, because they're gonna reschedule those on our insurance next year.
To what?
I want to call it an unsafe building, but that's not what you call it exactly. But it was because it wasn't being
Because it's
used.
not utilized.
It's not being utilized.
so what do you
it's
want
like
to
that on
cover?
our rental.
I think we need to go about 45 on
Okay,
That sounds high to me. But
I don't know how this one will be. My homeowners just want 40%.
Okay, then we have, so we're good, are you guys good with 45, up to 45? Okay, then we have utility services. Currently at 16,000 and we have 69% left, so I kept it the same. Are you guys good with that?
So,
Well,
well, so wait a minute, we're at 69% left. We got the rest of the year left.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they'll go down a little bit because of these new lights. And that's going to be helpful. They're gonna go up. Well, big performance is going to be different for us.
The rebate that we get, which is huge, but where does those funds go?
I would receipt it into this
Into that.
category, yes.
That's probably okay.
So are we good with that number? Okay, repairs and maintenance, 10,000 and the same with 69% left. So I did 10,000 again.
That's good.
Other services and charges, we did 15,000 last year. We only have 32% left, and I bumped that up to 22,000. You guys good with that?
Sure.
Okay. Fire contract. I appropriated or budgeted exactly what our fire contract's going to be next year, so there's no wiggle room on that.
Right. Do we pay that in one fell swoop, or you pay it to them?
No, twice a year. So
Oh,
June
that's right,
and
twice a year.
December. Yeah. Okay. So next page of your appropriation report. So general capital outlays are for big things. So even though we haven't spent any money out of there yet, we're on the second page of the appropriation report and at the second to the last in the middle for other capital outlays. Last year we did 50,000. We still have 100% of it left. I went up to 75,000 just in case we do something with this across the street or a water tower, whatever it may be. It has to be big things. So if you want me to keep it the same, or I can bump it back down to where it
It's
was.
on page 4.
Page 2
We're still on page 2, Mark, but we're on
of the
page
appropriations
Of the
report.
appropriation
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, up here at the top.
Top item,
very top.
General capital outlays.
Now, what is that?
So,
No.
Are we good with that?
Other capital,
yes.
General capital, did you find it, Rocky?
you went up to 75?
Yes.
Got you.
Okay, are you guys good with that number?
I am.
Okay. Okay, then other capital outlays, we don't have that, so that's why there's a 0 there. Or I'm sorry, property tax cap impact, we don't have that, so there's nothing there. So now we're gonna go down to local road and streets, and then this is still on page 2 of your appropriation report under fund number 2202. It's the second one from the top.
LRS.
Yes. So we have appropriated, or last year we budgeted 75,000. There's still 100% left in that fund, but I still kept it the same because of any monies that engineer work that gets done for our streets, that can be paid out of that fund. And if we can pay for CCMG things out of that fund. Local road, anything that improves our roads.
So, we can pay for sidewalks out of that fund?
Double check that one, Mark. So are you guys good with that, keeping that?
Is that 75?
Yes.
Got you.
Okay, now we're down to MVH. And this is a more restrictive fund. So we're still on page 2 of the appropriation report, but it's toward the top. It's right under general capital outlays. So my recommendation would be, we have been paying our utility superintendent out of MVH, and it was recommended to me that we move that and pay him out of the general water, wastewater. That's totally up to you guys. And then it gives us more room in MVH to spend money on our roads.
Yeah.
Instead of tying it up so much of our money into a salary.
I think we should do that.
Agreed.
Okay. So, MVH then, we're down to the wages of labor, FICA. So that would be, I would be taking those numbers out, and then it would give us more wiggle room to take that close to what, right about $27,000 to put into operating supplies, repairs and maintenance, and so on and so forth.
So the 25,750 and the 1975
Right.
will disappear.
No. I could break those numbers up and put it into MVH operating supplies.
Well,
repair and
yeah,
maintenance.
but
Yeah,
the wages of labor and the FICA
correct.
will
They're gonna
disappear.
they're gonna transfer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
So you guys are good with me taking that number and putting it into like operating supplies, professional services. I personally think it should be into repairs and maintenance supplies, professional services, and repair and maintenance services. That's my personal opinion.
I think wherever you think it's going to be best is going to be, you're the one that deals with the money day in
Okay.
and day out. So
Okay.
I think better to go and split it up however you think is best. I think that's the best thing to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I know you'll keep us within whatever the guidelines, rules that we're supposed to live
Right. Okay. And then if you go to the next page of budget, so I'll work with all those numbers with the MVH.
in. So we're not doing anything else in that one?
No.
Whatever, that'll just be on the report that
Yeah,
we look
and
at.
I'll let you guys know. So once I get all these numbers plugged back into Gateway and play with them, then I will just email you guys a copy of this again. And then, as you can see, MVH paving matching funds is $50,000. That's, and you see it says restricted. So I suggest that last year there was nothing budgeted in there. So I am proposing that we do budget for that.
I'm sorry, where's that on the
It's
appropriation?
It's 2203, Carla, page 2 at the very bottom.
Okay. There.
And then this is the restricted fund, and when it's very restricted.
And that's MVH
Yes.
at the top there?
Yes.
Paving matching funds?
Yes.
And you're proposing at $50,000?
Yes.
But we had zero last year.
Correct. And we should have had money in that fund. We should have appropriated money in there.
Gotcha.
Because engineering services even can be paid out of
Right.
I think that's good.
I agree.
that. Are the rest of you okay with that? So then capital outlays, I have infrastructure. Again, there was nothing budgeted for that as well, but I have 32,000 in there.
Is that on the next page?
No, it's not even on the appropriation.
Okay, on it.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, category 4. And we did budget 35,000. So I brought
Oh,
it
the
down to
infrastructure.
32. Now, are you guys good with 32?
Because we spent nothing.
Correct.
Gotcha. Works for me.
But I will start spending out of there because of
4.
CCMG stuff. Like BFNS for engineering work can be paid out of there. And then, of course, property tax cap impact is, okay, CCI, which is cigarette tax money. So this is on page, bear with me. It is on page 5 of your appropriation report. And then we're still on the same page with the budget. So on here, it's just capital outlays for CCI. 100% we still have left. And we budgeted $15,000. So on this proposed budget, I have $15,000 again.
For machinery and equipment.
Yeah, because CCI is a fund that for any legal purpose. So if we decide we want to buy an excavator, whatever, we can do that.
Not for 15K.
No.
If you can, give me a list of
Okay,
that.
down payment.
A great big snow blower. I mean, just anything. That is a fund that's for any legal purpose.
So that's where the mower would come out if we need to buy it.
Correct.
It's one of the places.
So are you guys good with that?
I am.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Fine.
Fine with me.
Now we're on to CCD. So last year we budgeted $50,000. We still have 100% of it left. CCD, and I only proposed $15,000. CCD is the fund, along with the general fund, that comes from property tax monies. But CCD is also a fund that the town established an ordinance back in 2018, or a resolution, I'm sorry. And the resolution says that this budget cannot exceed more than 5 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation. And then there's Indiana code as to what you can spend money on. So it's up to you guys what you want me to do.
So on the
This is a
budget,
little bit more restrictive, this fund is, than what the general fund is.
So it might be a good idea to kick it up.
what did we budget last year?
50, and nothing has been spent.
Well, I'm all for spending less, but I love your optimism, but I think I would go a little higher as well.
Okay, you guys tell me.
So what
another-
are the restrictions?
I don't know all of them off the top of my head.
Just a
In
couple,
major.
give me an idea.
Yeah, it's more for economic growth,
Gotcha.
economic development.
So somewhat restricted.
Yes,
I gotcha.
So does any of this restrict the ability for the redevelopment commission to be able to spend money on it?
No,
They're completely separate,
No.
that's right? But, yeah, it was 50 last year.
yes,
I know, but we didn't. All we've been doing is trying to catch our breath this year. And so we haven't done a very good job at it.
But the end of year is half over.
Well, you're
2020
better than half over.
2025 will be a great year.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd hate for opportunity to come along
Okay,
and then us, have to be stretched.
So what are you thinking?
I wouldn't.
You want to leave
If
it
it
at
wasn't,
50?
if it didn't cause a problem leaving it at 50 last year, then I don't know why we would want to leave it at 50 again this year.
so are you guys good with that? Okay, so go with 50.
Let's
Okay.
go for a use.
Now we can move on to edit, which is right underneath the CCD, which stands for Economic Development Income Tax. And that is on page 6 of your appropriation report. And edit is spent by ordinance. So last year, we budgeted 40 in professional services and 20 in repairs and maintenance. We still have 100% of that money left,
Where's the attorney get paid out of?
general.
Well, wouldn't she fall under professional services?
Well, but this is edit, so this fund is restricted. It's very restrictive. So you have to have an ordinance or resolution to spend money out of this fund.
So it still comes, she's still under professional services, only under general budget,
Yeah.
general fund versus.
Okay.
Or
So-
sometimes I pay her under like water, wastewater, depending on what her itemized statement says. But
So what would be a use for this money? What would be appropriate, just for my own understanding?
across the street would be one example.
Say that again?
Across the street.
Well, how would that be a professional service? I mean, if we had somebody come in and do architectural work or something like that? Okay.
Or even a contractor coming out and doing something, that's a service.
So if we wanted to repair the building or something
Right.
like that, okay.
Well, if you want to do it upstairs too.
Correct, yes.
All right.
It just would have to be done by ordinance. So that's why the numbers are there, because if you guys decide that, hey, we're gonna do this project, you can
So-
spend the money out of this fund by ordinance.
And you basically just put it in like it was last year?
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Are you guys good with that?
I mean, it's fairly restrictive, so I'm good with it.
Okay, we're moving along. The last, before we go back to salaries, is first we're gonna bypass lit, or LOIT, L-O-I-T. The last page of your budget, and it is on page, sorry, bear with me.
So
It
we're
is
going
on
to
page 4 of your appropriation report.
page what?
Page 4 of your appropriation report.
So we're going to LECE?
No, that is leasing. We are skipping leasing.
We're skipping it, because that way we're skipping Lloyd.
Leasing, no, we're not skipping Lloyd.
Okay, we're doing Lloyd.
Yes, we're skipping leasing because no matter what, even when I plugged the 0 into leasing,
Oh, yeah.
I was in the red.
Okay,
So that I have to reach out to my DLGF rep and find out what's going on with that.
so we're working on Lloyd.
We're working on lit. So lit is page 4, and it says lit public safety office. And as you can see, last year, $1,000 was budgeted for office supplies. He's at 0.62%. So I've bumped it up to $6,000.
Okay.
Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, where are we?
For
So-
professional.
I'm sorry, that was for office supplies?
Yes. And then under fuel, I kind of got rid of that little line item because in Gateway, doesn't exist, fuel. That got added, I think, last year, the fuel. So basically I kind of combined the 3,000 and thought, okay, with the public safety category 3 and category 4. So it's public safety expenses or professional services, and then machinery, equipment, and vehicles. So services and charges and professional services on your budget form kind of all go into the fuel and the category 3.
So you're gonna draw the fuel out.
Yes,
So
but
category 3, so you're gonna pull fuel expenses out of that one?
yes.
Okay, as opposed to just having its
Yes.
own line item?
So
I'm sorry, I missed something. You're out of which one?
out of public professional services or machinery, equipment, and vehicles.
I don't see those.
On your
I
budget.
see Cat 3 and Cat 4, OIT public safety. I don't think see anything that says machinery.
Look at your, okay, so look at the total, if you look at the current under lit, on the appropriation report, you have
Okay.
office fuel, and then you just have lit public safety,
Right,
and then you have lit public safety category 4. Category 4 is for big things, bigger things that they may need. If
Okay.
another vehicle goes haywire. Then category 3 is services. that
Okay,
he.
so you're pulling fuel out of services.
Yes,
Okay.
but I put down 22. I'm gonna ask that we bump that back up to 30 because he still has 72.8% left. Are you guys good with that?
Mm-hmm.
You change 22 to 30.
Yep,
Even though he's got over 70% of his budget
Yeah.
left.
yep, because I'm getting rid of the line item with fuel. And we just don't know what,
And what did we budget for
Need.
fuel last year?
$3,000.
$3,000?
Yeah, and I've had to, so I don't go over in his budget, I've had to take some of his expenses out of general fund.
Then we know fuel's not gonna go down.
No, mm-mm,
All right, and you wanna kick it up to what?
30.
It's fine.
And then I'm proposing the same thing for machinery, equipment, and vehicles,
So 25.
from 25 to 30.
Change it to
And what? Okay. And what is it for this year?
It's at 32.
That's the
So,
one that's
yeah,
32.
Yeah, I want to go up to
Scott,
32.
the other Explorer, what year is it, 2018?
Yes.
So it's what,
Four.
6, pardon?
That was 4, we had that.
Yes, so
Okay.
I want to bump that back up to 32.
Gotcha.
And then,
Wait, you lost me somewhere.
sorry,
So you're bumping what to 32? What was it before?
It was 32.
it was at 32.
But
Well, she wanted to take it down, but now
gonna
she's
go down
gonna
to
take it.
I wanted
25,
to
or
bring it
she
back
wants to
up.
to 30.
On the proposed one, she took it back to 25.
And
Yes.
this is still under lit?
Yes,
So the
And-
professional services,
Ah,
Third
so
one,
I have a 22 here, and you wanna go to 32?
yes,
that's the second one.
30
One
or
underneath
32.
that.
I thought you said 30 under professional services.
That's what I
32
have.
for machinery, equipment, and
Yes.
vehicles.
yes,
They're both 30.
Both 30.
30 for professional services, from 22 to 30.
and then machinery, equipment, and vehicles 32.
Ah, okay, I'm sorry.
And then Lacey, I have to fix. So once I plug these numbers in and anything comes up in red, then I have to start reducing.
Okay.
So do we know what those numbers currently are? Public equipment, police equipment, trans expenses?
I'm not sure what you're asking, I'm sorry.
Well, you said it on leasing that you, right now we're seeing 0.
And that, yeah, because even with the 0 plugged in there on Gateway, it shows me in the
Right,
red.
that's an issue.
Yes,
But do we know what this year is?
yes. So this year is under appropriate, I believe it was 5,000. Let me double check.
I mean, is EC in the appropriation anywhere?
Lacey was 5,000, page 3.
I'm sorry,
And
page 3.
yes, and they were they still have 90% left. They were budgeted $5,000, so that's why I don't understand what is going on with that.
But you would propose to stay the same at
Correct.
5,000. Okay.
But revenue from Lacey comes from tickets that, not ordinance violations, but tickets that
Traffic violation.
correct, or court costs. Someone has to go to court.
State
Those,
tickets.
pardon?
State tickets.
Yes.
Well, I just want to know what we currently had, and you think you want to leave it the same.
I would like to. Yes.
I'm
That- I mean,
I'm
that
fine
way
with that.
Basically, what gets paid out of that fund is training.
So
But if
if we're at 0 budgeted for training expenses, where are we pulling expenses out?
I can pull it out of the general fund, I can pull it out of, lit.
Same with police equipment. I'm assuming that means smaller items, not big items.
Correct.
Computers,
Right.
tasers, that
That
kind
can
of
come
stuff.
out of the machinery and equipment.
Okay. So these being $0 don't impact the department.
No.
We've got other ways to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But there's 0 on here only because
It showed up in
wouldn't
the
work.
Correct. No matter what number I plugged in there, I was in the red. Even with
But
the
the
0.
number that should be there is 5,000 for each.
Okay. Then the next thing is salaries. So you guys can tell me. And keep in mind, when you're looking at the salaries are going to be page 1 of the appropriation report. And then we've already discussed paying the town manager or the utility superintendent out of general water, wastewater. So it's 33% out of each fund is what I'm suggesting. And then that office gets paid out of water, wastewater, the utility office.
All right, so utility supervisor, the third's going to.
So the way you do 33.33% out of water, 33.33% out of wastewater, and then Keystone will pick up the difference. Does that make sense? So it's a third out of each fund.
Right. So we don't need, so whatever that salary is, 66% of it's going to be paid out of the utility.
Correct.
And the other
Third
needs to be paid out of
general.
This,
Right.
out of this budget.
Correct.
From this budget. And utility
Superintendent.
Utility clerk, that's completely funded out of the utilities?
Yes, that's all she does is, yeah.
Or any other salaries paid for out of utilities? Is there anything else?
No, just utilities and.
So we got to figure salaries for council salary, plus treasurer salary, town marshal salary, deputy marshal salaries, and laborers.
It's nice to see the salary limit. Do that.
I apologize. Wait, so when we're looking at salaries, the utility town manager, whatever we're gonna call this position, isn't listed here under.
Well, he's getting paid under MBH, so we would have to come up with a line item unless we stuck it under wages of laborers. We'd have to come up with another, line item in the general fund. Carla, do you want me to get a copy of the salary ordinance?
I think it'd be easier to see
Okay.
and understand.
Does anyone else want a copy of it?
Sure.
This is the 2024-11.
This is 2023-23.
This is for this year, I didn't have it. Come on, the ones for the stipends.
All of those current information.
This is,
Wow,
yeah, it's gonna be the 2024-11. We had it. Do you have it at from last month's meeting?
What is it?
2024-11. This is old. This is old business here. Thank you.
So I'll get.
I left mine on the desk at home.
You know what letter it was?
Okay.
This is K right here. We have two Ks?
Two K. No, it's not K though. K stuck in my head for some reason. Yeah, maybe I can tell you from that. It would be G.
When was that? Was that in June?
Actually, that was the July. Actually, that's hourly salary ordinance.
So which one?
For non-elected employees. So the one we wouldn't have is bridges. But I have the total for it too.
I'd rather see the actual ordinance.
$17, right?
No, 17 wasn't passed. This is 2024-13. This is for elected. Non-elected wasn't passed yet, but I still have a
What
copy
you just
of it.
gave us.
No, this is new.
This is
This is
2024,
2024.
and the other was 2023.
Yeah, but 17 is going to get passed.
Yes.
So that's why that's
And
the,
that's coming. This is part of this one.
Oh, thank you.
oh, you do this.
Maybe one ring. Sorry, not a number. There you go.
So,
Oh, okay. So what, Mark?
I'm waiting for Bridget to get back. See if I can say anything.
You'll have to repeat it.
How do you guys like not having microphones in front of you?
Can you get yours?
We'll see. You hear me?
You can't hear us back there.
There's a fan back there, I think that might be it here.
Uh,
But still, the mic still picks up the volume so you can hear better. So if there were more people in here, and maybe, whispering or whatever, it might be harder.
Well, it's still supposed to send it back to the speakers, right? Or these speakers?
You know what? I'll have to check and see if you hooked it up.
I don't have the house audio on.
That's why.
But that would actually go back.
Yes,
through
so the way it would work, that actually connects directly to the computer, and I'll take the sound from the computer, send it through your amplifier, which will then power these speakers.
there. I see.
But I don't have that connection currently, so, sorry.
Well, the good news is I'm not constantly pumping the microphone, so you don't have to listen to that anymore.
Okay, so there's been some discussion about, at least for the hourly employees for the town marshal, the marshal themselves, to eliminating the stipends and making it just a simple salary. Is that what I understand?
Well, there's a question, yeah.
And then, so there's an insurance stipend, there's a clothing allowance, all those things. Just throw all that stuff in together instead of making that, it's all the same, right? It all gets paid out.
It's all taxed,
Yeah,
just like
it's all taxed, it's all paid out. So, in other words, if you took, maximum salary, stipend, the insurance stipend, the clothing allowance, just add all those things together. You got one number. That's the number.
Does it matter to you, Bridget?
Pardon?
It's easier. It'd be easier for you, wouldn't it?
It was all one?
Yeah, it's all one.
If we were just a flat salary as opposed to stipends and allowances.
For hourly.
For hourly, we don't have any full-timers. We don't offer healthcare to part-timers. So are you talking their uniform allowance for the police?
Yeah, let's just say Scott.
Okay.
Okay, he's got a salary. Okay, and that's not elected employees. I said hourly.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I said where I confused you. Not elected employees. Instead of having a flat salary and then the stipends and the insurance stipend and the clothing allowance, just take all those numbers, add them all together, divide it by 26, and that's what it is every pay period.
Okay.
Right? And that's how mine doesn't work. That's how I've always been under it, right? So, we know what that number is going to be. And if we do it that way, then we take that number, and I would propose we add 3% increase for next year to it. That's how we would increase the salaries.
What about their uniform allowance?
That would be part of that as well.
That would be part of that. So, for instance, right now, Scott this year is going to be about $71,310. Okay.
For all that together.
For this year, it's 2024 compensation, and then we 3% increase on that.
3% increase on 71,000.
310.
Where'd you go up with 71?
Take his base salary of $60,477, stipend of $4,233, his insurance stipend $600.
Why are we adding the stipend? The stipend was to be a one-time thing.
Stipend is part of what they're getting.
This year.
Yes, but what we're saying is That's gonna continue in the next year as well. And then it's gonna continue in the following year. So it's all the same. And instead of just making it all confusing like this, it's like.
I think you're making it, you're the one that's making it more difficult and confusing, but you do what you want.
Well, look, Carl, I mean, I would be interested in what your thoughts are. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out a way
Stipend
to.
is to be assigned. It wasn't annually. That wasn't the intent. Just give the stipend.
What was so I wasn't here, so what was the intent of the stipend?
Yeah, insurance isn't a stipend.
Correct.
It is.
Yes, it is. It's a healthcare stipend.
They,
Yes, it is. It's a healthcare stipend.
It's just paid separately.
their stipend.
It's paid in, they get it in their paycheck. It's not a
Correct.
separate
Right.
paycheck. But when you report to Gateway every year, it's their total, everything combined. It's not broken up. What they get, what their base salary is, what their healthcare stipend is, what their uniform allowance is, what a cell phone stipend is. It's all one number. It's a 100-hour report that it's their total compensation.
That's what I was trying to explain when I sent the information out
Yeah.
on the Gateway thing. That these numbers here are not the same things, but being reported on their report. They gave the base salary. So, for instance, Scott's base salary is $60,477 at the beginning report. Right. But then you add in all these other things. His stipend, his insurance stipend, his clothing allowance, those things. Then you come up with a total number. That total number is what you read on the Gateway report. So, based on other communities, it seems like we're pretty comparable at this point, I think. But going into next year, I would propose that we increase it by 3% increase going into next year.
Out of the three comparisons, what you said, one of them's Frankfurt,
Yeah.
which has a population of like 26,000. The only other one that was comparable in population was in Malmberg. We had like 1,300 population here in Dayton, and I can't remember what Malmberg had.
Dayton's at 1,600 now. That number.
Well, I understand, but this was as of the report that the Gateway
okay.
printed out. Okay, I understand where we're at now in population, we're $3,000 higher. But when I put all the numbers down, okay, we was almost double total. If you paid out all of our police protection, we was double what they're paying in Mulberry here in Dayton. Now, is the crime rate that bad here in Dayton that we have to have that? And I'm not talking just about one individual here. I'm talking about all of our police protection that we have here in Dayton. Okay? How many times are we driving up and foiling the crime
I'm just
in the act?
so
I'm saying for
I-
warrant to pay that.
I feel safe here because of the amount of police presence there
We
are,
all feel safe here,
and that's where I am with the police. We're a hop, skip, and jump from the interstate, and I'm thankful our police post is where it is for those reasons.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah,
on
I have
that.
a different view on it.
So what's Mulberry, when you added this up, what's Mulberry's budget per year? For
I
their
didn't bring
officers?
them notes with me because I didn't realize this is something we're going to be bringing up tonight. I thought this is something we could be bringing up at the next meeting, and I was going to be prepared with. Okay, so I mean, I've got that all documented,
So,
and I was going to try to get some more towns that's the same size as Dayton, so we can see what, what's
you do need to consider two things.
Okay.
The location of where we are at in relation to the interstate as it comes in off the interstate. Okay. You need to consider that we are very fortunate to have a very low crime rate right now, serious crime rate. And probably because of that, no, not probably, because of that is because the police force that we have and the stuff's put together. And also, we're competing with Lafayette. We're not competing with Frankfurt. We're competing with Lafayette for services to police in our community. And you know what? I don't want to go backwards because right now we're having a hard time finding somebody to just take care of the basic services we have. And I think they're happy here, and I think we know where we're at right now. I don't understand where you suggesting we go backwards from where we're at right now. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. You want to get these numbers put together and say, well, basically we're paying too much, and so instead of going forward,
You're putting words in his mouth. I don't think that's what he said.
That's what I heard.
It was double.
That's on you. That's what you heard. That's not what I heard because I don't think that's what he said.
Well,
What I'm saying is, okay, and I'm going off memory now. I don't have my notes here, okay? So maybe we just ought to until I can get my notes here, just take the under advisement.
Well, I don't think Rocky's saying we cut back.
No.
I think what he's saying is
before.
before we increase more, he wants to have more discussion.
Okay, I just have to have these numbers before the public hearing in September.
I understand. That's why we went ahead and started early. So we're ahead of it, okay? I'll be prepared. I'll bring them to this meeting in another week or 2 weeks, whenever we have.
Well,
Okay?
we're voting again on that, aren't we?
Well, we're talking about the budget.
I know you are, but I mean,
Well, let's just
for his vote.
concentrate on what we're working on, not what we think we're going to work on next. So I still think this sounds like it's two questions. A, obviously, whatever we want to do as far as increases, things like that, that's a question. I think the other question is, do we want to continue down the road of stipends and all that stuff, or do we just want to go to, hey, look, here's the salary per year, and that includes X, Y, and Z, and then at the end of every year, all I have to go by is my own experience. Everywhere I've worked, whether I was salary or hourly, at the end of every year or the beginning of the year, whenever the company did it, they sit me down and say, hey, Steve,
Right.
you did a great job this year. Budget allows us for up to this amount. We're going to give you that amount. Based on where you are salary-wise in the market, There's a lot of dancing around in there, but nobody's ever, and I've never had a job where I got a uniform other than Apple. They give us our T-shirts, so it's not that big a deal. So I've never had a stipend or any kind. So the question is it more advantageous for us and for the town that we just have a salary amount? The marshal gets this much per year. That includes stipend for, health insurance, uniform, that kind of stuff. Or do we, I don't know. For me, as kind of a new person here, the whole, let's give them a stipend for this amount this year. I mean, it seems like that makes it much harder to budget because
it also creates a great deal of uncertainty for the employee.
well, that's where I come from. I know I want to know, hey, if I'm going to get $40K a year, tell me I'm going to get $40K a year so I can budget $40K a year. Not, hey, you're going to get 35, and we may or may not give you a stipend down the road, or if you get a bonus, then that I don't want to budget that anyway. That's a bonus, but that's
The thing is that Bridget's stipend got doubled from last year and got doubled this year, and so did Evans. And
well, Bridget's an elected official though, so she's a whole different ball of wax on a couple different ways.
not that much different, especially since the thought process is the same. You want to roll it all together, including the stipend. And so,
But what we do for hourly, non-elected people, we don't have to necessarily do for elected, right? We don't have to do it all for everybody.
but you're not going to tell me that thought process isn't going to roll over into the same.
Well, I can't tell you what is and isn't going to happen. My thought process when it comes to, hey, let's just go salaries does not include Bridget, because Bridget is an elected official. It's just the regular hourly staff, the Nate's old position, the marshal, the chief marshal, the regular officers.
Salary amount.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause they're not hourly, I don't believe. Part-time, with part-time, checked in hour.
Right.
Non-elected.
the marshal and
They're,
the,
they're not
and the
necessarily
assistant
paid,
marshal,
they're not necessarily paid hourly,
they're
correct?
not hourly, they're salary.
Right,
Correct,
right.
The part-time police protection is hourly.
correct.
That's what I'm getting at. Okay.
But but Mark's right, what he's saying is there, on the ordinances, it's not separated by hourly.
Right.
It's elected and non-elected.
Right.
That's the correct differentiation.
Okay, so do we want to schedule a meeting before the next monthly meeting? Because if
Don't
we
we have a
schedule this
meeting
on the
before
next
the next
month,
monthly meeting?
That's a different meeting.
it's a month, that's what I mean. Do we want to schedule a meeting between the monthly meeting in August and the monthly meeting in September to hammer this out? So
So
we're
are you
not,
talking to refinish the budget?
yes, yes. Because I have to have
I
it
see what you're
done.
saying.
Yes, I have to have it done
Correct.
before the September meeting. It has to be published so many days beforehand and
So you don't want to discuss it at the next meeting, at the regular meeting?
Right. You don't want to discuss.
it's
it
up to you
regularly.
guys. I'm just asking what's our plan here? So I know what time frame
It
is
doesn't
when
matter
I
to me.
can get this done.
What's your deadline date?
September.
This has to be done and publicized 10 days before the 16th of
To a public
September.
hearing.
Which is
September 6th
September
is the
what?
deadline.
Yes,
September the what?
September 17th. So, yeah.
So that's what, yeah, this is all.
Well, when it boils down to it, Mark, isn't it your religious decision anyways?
Not with
No,
salaries.
no.
That's
Not
why I
with
say that
salaries.
for the
This is-
last bit of it. That's why,
This is the council's decision.
yeah. I can't put numbers in the salary. I can project numbers,
I
but I
mean,
can't.
tonight.
I mean, let me rephrase. I'm not opposed at all of combining everything.
No, I don't get that sense. It's not how we do it, it's how much we do.
And I'm not opposed to, issuing a, whatever it is, 1%, 2%, 3% increase to be in next year's budget. Okay?
So
But,
then let's just vote on it.
wait a minute. But we're not talking about just one person. We'll be talking about 6 or 7 people.
Right. And my suggestion is that everybody gets a 3% increase.
And other communities only have 3 or 4 people.
Well,
We're not other
but here's what you need to understand though. Okay, we have 2 full-time, right, police people, right, okay? Scott and Ed, right, and then the other marshals that we have, right, are paid deputies, are paid hourly, okay? And their salary is, their hourly salary is $28 an hour.
Right.
Now, do they get uniform stipends and all that kind of stuff as well?
It's 29 cents per hour that they work.
So we can take that 29 cents and take that out of there. Now you got $28.29. It's the same thing. Doesn't need to have a stipend in there. It's the same thing. It comes out the same no matter how you do it. I think it makes bookkeeping easier, doesn't it?
It's whatever you guys decide.
But it makes bookkeeping easier, doesn't it?
Well, the 29 cents an hour.
Well, so you got $28. If he works 1 hour, it's $28.29.
And 29 cents of that tax, after taxes, that's what he has for uniforms.
They're gonna be little uniforms.
So it all comes out the same. And important part is we stay competitive on our wages, which
Well, we're still, it's 2 different questions. Do we want to keep it as multiple chunks, or do we want to make it just a flat salary? Here's what your salary is per year. Let's not get into,
We're not
How
getting
much?
an amount. We're not getting an amount.
I'm not asking for that, but if it's, hey, is it easier to give,
I think the non-elected employees, we should Should be just one flat amount.
And the essence of it is fine. It's what you roll into it that I have the issue with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do we,
And we're not going, I think if we agree on the fact of doing that, but not landing on the amount right now, if that's possible.
when you say rolling into it, are you talking about amounts or what the items are?
The items. I don't think the stipend should be rolled into it.
Okay. Do you think the stipend should exist?
Not for this year, not to create, what you're gonna do is create a new base salary for everybody.
Right.
I don't think the stipend that they're receiving this year should be a part of that, because the stipend was just to be, if we're giving it for next year, you get the stipend for that year. It doesn't roll over. It was never intended to be rolled over.
Okay. So the stipend is supposed to be a once in a while thing. It's not a, hey,
Correct.
this is a guaranteed part of your salary.
Correct, and I don't think that should be a part of the new base salary going forward.
Stipends have happened every year.
No, they haven't happened every year.
When did they not happen?
They didn't always give them, and they didn't always give.
They started to give them because they knew that they'd have to do it to become competitive.
You're going to say whatever you want to say, and you're not going to listen to me because you never do.
Okay, so can
you're
we
gonna
schedule
do what you
another
want.
meeting instead of arguing? Or what are we
No, I
gonna do?
just- no, I think we should take care of this right now.
I do too.
I'm not sure that you do,
Well, it's a bit ridiculous and redundant.
and that's your opinion.
You're right. You know, thing about opinions.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know because again, I've only been here for a few months, and I don't remember enough about the time before this. But my stipend can be a lot of different things. I mean, I guess, but if it's not initially supposed to be part of their salary, then it's not an annual thing. Okay, so and if we can't budget it, if stipend is kind of a number we pull out of the air, then the salary needs to be competitive, needs to be fair to them, but it does kind of sound like the stipend is not necessarily going forward on next year's budget, not for whatever we're thinking about doing for the rest of this year, but going forward on next year's budget.
Correct.
We just need to set a salary amount and say, okay, that includes, doesn't include anything. Here's what the salary is.
Right, but we're still adding that money.
Well, if it's not a every year amount,
just gonna
then
be a
I don't
flat
know that we should be
raise.
doing it.
No, what he wants to do is take the base salary now, add the clothing allowance and the
That's what he
medical
wants to do.
and the
Yeah.
medical stipend,
Yeah,
roll that all together
yeah,
to create a new base salary,
yeah.
which that part I'm okay with. But he also wants to include the stipend that they received this year to create the base salary and then give a 3% increase for 2025.
No, he wants to include all that and then do a 3%
That's what
increase.
That's what I
you
just said.
Okay.
So
I don't agree
that's
with it.
exactly what I want to do.
Exactly.
Take,
And I say the stipend should not be included to create that new base salary.
So if we take the stipend out of the amount, okay, for next, when again, I'm talking about next year, this is a budget meeting, we're talking about budget.
Correct.
If we take the stipend out of next year and we increase that amount by 3%, how does that hit? How does that above what average? Is it below?
Increase which amount?
So if you take,
The salary, the uniform, and the insurance, those three figures.
And then the same stipends?
no,
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, a health
There-
care
Stipend
is
is
a
a separate
stipend.
amount.
But
Rob,
that's not the stipend
Rob,
that I'm
let
talking
me
about.
talk.
He wants to
Excuse me.
incorporate in
Yeah,
another
excuse me.
$2,500.
Okay.
Stipends are stipends.
That's what he just
We
said.
have a cell phone stipend, we have a healthcare stipend, and then an additional stipend was given out this year. There's 3 stipends for this year.
okay,
And we all know what stipend
everybody
I'm
take a
talking
breath.
about.
The stipends I'm talking about are, if there's a cell phone type stipend, that's more of a, they're using their phones, we're helping pay for their phones.
Correct.
They're using uniforms they purchase, we're helping pay for their uniforms. They have to have some health care, we pay for health care. Okay?
Yes.
That's normal, that doesn't change, that's what we give them every year. Correct?
$25 is new this year.
I don't care about amounts. Those stipends,
Mm-hmm.
because we call it all stipends, but those stipends are all what they get every year, correct?
Yes.
Plus their, whatever their hourly
Annual-
rate is,
Annual salary.
annual salary, right? Then there is a, like if you get in, and I think part of the confusion is we call it a stipend, but it's actually more like a bonus or something like that.
Right.
If without that stipend, bonus, whatever you want to call it, we add those numbers up and then we add 3% to that number, is that competitive? Is it an increase? Where does that fall budget-wise for next year? Again, if we decide in a week to give them a stipend for the rest of this year, that's this year.
Correct.
And they're not on that salary this year. They're on what we've been doing forever. I'm talking about going forward because we can't change things midstream. Going forward, starting the next budget year, that we go to a flat salary, all right, that they can plan on. And then if we're going to do increases, annual increase of 2-3% like most corporations do, that's what I'm asking about. What's that number look like?
So without the $4,233, it's at $67,077.
Plus, I forgot about cell phone. I didn't realize that all three of them get $25 a month for cell phone.
Yes, so that's $300 a year.
You want to break that down for us?
What do you want broken down, Rocky?
$60,477.27.
Yeah.
And then
Insurance is $6,000. Clothing allowance is $600. Cell phone is $300
Per year.
per year.
Okay.
Then an additional stipend of
That's 67,377. Am I correct on my
Yes,
math?
you are.
and then an additional stipend of $4,233.40. You ready for these?
All right, so if you take 67,377 per year and you increase it by 3% for next year, what do we come to?
That would be an additional $2,021.31. That would be added to that.
How much?
$2,021 and some change.
I wrote something down. $2,000.
And $21.
Oh, okay.
That would bring it up to $69,398.
So, are you going to give out stipends next year?
Don't know.
That's
Well,
I'd like
less
to know.
Stipends aren't guaranteed.
That's less than he's going to make. That's less than he's making this year.
Yeah,
How's that less than he's making this year? We
Because
just
you
said he
cut
made
2,000 out of
67.
it.
Because
You cut 2,000 out of
you
it.
cut. No, you cut this. You didn't add in a stipend for this year.
He ain't got a stipend yet this year.
Yes, he has. $4,233.
Huh?
And that's my point. That
That's
should
what,
not be part of creating a new base salary.
so the question is, are you going to give stipends next year?
Not based on the new policy you want to do. Because you don't want to do that.
If we don't need to do that, if we add it in, it's not added into this $67,000. It's not added into it.
Again, you're going to do what you want because you never listen. So you're going to.
I'm going to do what I want because what I feel is right, Carla. I don't have to agree with you.
I don't have to agree with you.
Okay, and so we will agree on that. But then, the question is, if you want to do it this way, that was his base salary, that was the insurance, or maybe you want to take the insurance away too.
Why?
That would be a good question. Why? But essentially, that's what you're doing when you don't add this stipend.
Those other items have been guaranteed and always paid.
There is no guarantee. They have not always been paid. There was a town clerk, they took her insurance away from her, remember?
There was a reason for that.
What?
And
You didn't like her?
No, that was not the reason.
So, so a rough estimate, so if you do it the other way, if you add the stipend from this year into that, you're looking at 73K and some change.
Yes, 73,805.85.
And how does that line up with the market?
Well, let's see here. Town Marshal, Mulberry, last year, $74,000.
That's Mulberry. I thought we were making more than them.
It's not
What?
the question, Leah.
But you're
Just
right.
trying to stay up on the,
They don't have an assistant marshal in Malvern. They get another,
They've got, let's see, 3 other deputies.
3 other deputies. That's what they have. Okay. So, and what does Evans take care of? You should have that on Dayton's.
Well, this is 2000.
I understand, but what was it? What is Dayton? Here's Dayton. Okay.
7,610. Look at his salary ordinance, I'll tell you what we have.
Okay, 54,600 or 965. So that's where I came up with my number. I had them 2 figures together, 54,900 and 67,100. Okay, $100,000 compared to Mulberry's 73,000. Well, $30,000 more is what we're paying, but that using 2 employees instead of 1 to make that money.
We're also right here at the
yeah,
interstate.
you could not do that. I mean,
Why
how
not?
many high-speed
We're all-
chases have went down 38 years?
What's that?
And gas stations been robbed. And I mean,
How many
Mulberry doesn't
times?
have- A lot.
How many times?
I don't know. I know last year
How
there
many
was at
times
least
has ever
2.
been? How many times has ever been reported at a goddamn monthly meeting of what the summary is of what we're doing?
We get a
You get a
summary
We get a
every
summary
month.
every month.
The town don't get it,
Well, the town needs to come up and ask for it. It's all open book.
you know. We don't need to know what address it's at or anything else. All we need to know is, hey, there was 27 citations for speeding.
Well, and Rocky, as far as that goes, I have unless Scott has an issue with it, I have no problem putting that report up on the web. Is there an issue with that?
I do, except for the CAD report.
The
The monthly reports I put on my Facebook page every month.
Okay, so they're public, they're open to the public. They just got nowhere to, like the police Facebook page would be the first place I'd look, other than maybe the city website, but, so, I mean, that information is reported, and I don't, this is where I'd much rather sit on the town council of the city of Los Angeles or the city of West Lafayette, because when you're trying to make decisions about how much you want to budget for your police and your fire, they're not, you're talking about 10,000 officers, you're not talking about 2 people
not so
who you know
personal.
work their ass off.
Yeah.
That makes it a whole lot easier. So I don't know, we're getting back into the dollar cents.
Yeah.
I think Scott and Evan both earn every dollar they get. That's not a question. My question is just what's the best way to budget it? I don't think stipends are the best way to budget it. Whether you want to include those into the base salaries or not, I don't know. That's a harder question to answer. I just think it's better for the town. It's, I would assume, better for the officers if they know how much money they're going to get every year without us having to vote on something mid-year or every third year or every third month or whatever we do it on. If we're going to do and the thing I've learned from talking to Carla and Mark both is that we have a finite amount of money coming in, and we have to make that work through a lot of different things. And I know a big chunk of why we've lost good people in the past is because they were underpaid. And I know this one spends a lot of hours here that she's not being paid for either, but that's a different story. So I don't know. I really have no good answer for dollars of it.
And it took a long time to get Evan. Scott had an application out for a very long time before he attained him working for the town.
I think we need to decide, get this figured out
I
tonight.
say it's, what, 73, whatever? 75, let's go 80.
I'm sorry, 73. Let's go 80. Well, let's not. Let's be serious and professional.
I'm trying.
Be serious and professional.
All right, so this needs to be grouped together. This isn't to pick individuals either. This is a total number you need, right?
Yes.
Bridget?
Well, the part-time officers are easy. They only get the stipend for their uniforms, right? They're 29 cents an hour, whatever it is. So just figure their hours up to whatever that amount is.
All right, well, so let's answer the first question now then. I think we should take a vote on whether we're going to combine all the stipends together or whether we're going to do all this stuff separately.
I make the motion to put them all together.
I'll second.
Okay. How do you vote, Steve?
Yes.
Leon?
Yes.
Rocky?
I'm in favor of putting that together.
Including the stipend?
No,
That was the motion.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. It was, the
Is it
motion was
for-
for all
No,
together.
I thought it was
including
less
the
stipend. I thought it was just agreeing to put them all together, no matter what we come up with.
The motion was for stipends.
Pardon?
Including, the motion was for stipends.
Including the stipend, all the stipends.
All the stipends.
I want to vote no then.
Okay. Mark?
Yes.
Carla?
No,
Okay.
All right. So
let me ask you this. Does Evan get the same $6,000 insurance?
We all
Yes.
do.
Huh?
We
Yes.
all do.
Okay.
That just started this year.
$600 uniform
Yes.
and $300 phone.
yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I believe the insurance is 6,000.
500 a month. It started this year. Remember, it was 350 last year.
It is 6,000. I don't know if you said 5. I apologize. It is.
No worries.
We all.
Healthcare stipends. And then the utility superintendent.
So
For currently free. So we don't have to pay them.
the question in my mind now becomes, what are we going to budget for the utility superintendent? Now, you need to imagine that 66% of it's going to be coming from the utilities themselves.
That's gonna have to go upon skill, isn't it?
It is, but we need to budget. So So the point is that we don't have to, whatever we budget isn't necessarily what we have to spend, right? We did that exercise on all these other things. We budgeted so many different things.
Right.
You can see whatever our expenditures are. So it's not necessarily the same. Some of these salaries are going to be, you know what you're going to do. In this particular case, on this utilities superintendent job, we don't know what that salary is going to be because it's going to depend on their skill level, whether they've got a certificate. Yeah.
All right, so the last employee in that position was getting what, 52K a year?
Yes.
And what
Plus-
magical stipends were
plus-
added to that?
Plus
the-
his healthcare. And his
Healthcare and what?
cell phone.
And he also got $600 clothing allowance.
Yes.
So,
600 a year.
Yes.
clothing allowance. You want to go back to, I don't know, what do you want to compare it to? You want to go back to Mulberry? His guy is at 74, well, 73.6. That's what he said. Now, he has his operator's license, okay, which we're paying Dan $500 a month,
Sure, yeah.
right? So what, does he want any more now?
Only because, yeah, because I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about it, but yeah. So, just because of, he just wants to keep a closer watch on those that are gonna be doing the testing, being out here more often, spending more hours here basically. So he would like to have a $300 a month increase from now until we hire somebody through your training. Hopefully that won't be very long.
He isn't paid though out of salaries because he's a contractor.
Which comes out of professional services,
He has
right?
a general fund, water, wastewater.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so.
He's not.
So,
he's not-
but in reality, though, if he's not there, then that money is available to go towards
Yes.
the utility.
So
person.
whatever you guys budget, tell me that you're going to budget, you have to
Could be.
pay that
So-
person that money.
Let's just say that he's at $800 a month now because he wants to kick it up to $300, right?
Hopefully that's only August, September. Potentially October.
But
That's only
But
$900.
so we don't have anybody who's given us an application that's an operator.
It's only been out for, it hasn't even been a week.
I think don't we have to plan worst case here though? What could
What,
worst
what
case?
is, what do you want to budget, Mark?
So worst case, if Dan stays for another year at $800 a month,
It wouldn't be at $800 a month.
Well, that's what you just said. You wanted 800.
And that's, you don't listen, Mark. I said only until someone's hired and trained. Hopefully that's only August, September, maybe October. Then he would drop back. It would be a temporary change in that.
But worst case scenario would be,
Could be
you
90
didn't
could be
hire him.
$9,600
You couldn't find him.
per year.
It's how much per year?
$9,600.
Okay. So what's, I'm lost here. What's the, what are we looking to budget for the position? So you're thinking 52,000 plus 9,600?
Well, I'm saying that I don't know what we want to budget for. I know what other places are paying these people. Okay. Let's see. So
Licensed
there's an
people.
assistant utility superintendent also in Mulberry. He gets $52,000. I don't know if he's got an operator license now, but he's.
So let me just, because I think that's humorous. They have a utilities guy and an assistant utility guy, but they only have one full-time marshal.
They also have an office assistant. Okay, she's at $43,000.
Okay, so we're not gonna pay somebody $75,000 a year to come in here
But
and
they're licensed.
don't care. We don't have it. And this isn't that hard a job.
They're
I don't-
licensed to
It's
the
a lot of
state.
work, yes,
That's a
but-
lot of money.
I don't know. There's
You're gonna-
I got a real good taste of what is involved here in the last 2 weeks, Steve. I'm telling you what, buddy. And I'm more than willing for anybody to come help. I'm doing locates tomorrow night. If you guys want to come help, let's go do it. You know. So
you wanna budget the 75K for next year?
I think we should budget 80. I don't know that we're going to pay that, but what I'm
No, I
saying-
get it.
Well,
You're
what I'm
saying worst
is,
case, we have it there.
If we get the right person, it's worth every dime. $250 to $5 for every water meter being put in. $800 a month for water samples. Start adding all this stuff up, and then I don't know what we're gonna do when we have a lift station go out. We're gonna call a plumber. They're probably gonna get us for about $400 an hour. Or we can hire all that stuff out, but we still need somebody to coordinate all those things.
No, I mean, again, I think I would prefer that we have it in-house. If you want to budget 80K for it, because we're not saying we're gonna spend 80K.
We're not
That's gonna
saying
be
we're
based on
gonna
who
spend-
we talk to.
If we get the right person, though, it would be worth it.
But that's a bridge we can talk about when we get to it. Right now, the idea is budget. So I don't necessarily have an issue with budgeting 80K. My only issue would be when we start talking to people, would be actually, we go with the idea, hey, we're gonna give somebody 80K.
Right.
So I don't have a problem budgeting it.
Those salary references in Mulberry include insurance. How do they do their insurance?
Stipends.
Stipends. It's, I have purchased,
Is that included in the numbers you gave us?
yes, yes it is. Okay, so then all the other, non-elected officials, do we do a 3% increase on that? Sound reasonable? You have to come up with some kind of total number on that, right?
Yes.
I mean, based on the number of hours that, you've got your crossing guard.
So what I could do is just take the total and then if that's what you guys want to do, 3%, and just, that's what I've spent so far this year. I pull a payroll for that.
I think that's reasonable, I think, and probably the easiest way to go about doing it. All right.
Can I inject something on what we already voted on?
Sure.
Okay. Combined income for our two salary officers is $131,263. 3% increase would bring that up to $135,250. And you said, so I broke that down and decided that on the one, $72,250, and on the other, $63,000, bring that up to $135,250, and that would be a pay increase over what they're getting paid this year if we put that in next year's budget.
How much of a pay increase would that be?
3%. 3% on the total of the two combined. Okay, not individually, on the two combined. Which is more than they both made this year. Or going to be making this year.
Well, we're not doing the salary ordinance right now, so we're not setting salaries. So that can be discussed.
Okay.
Okay. We are not setting salaries, but we do need to have the budget so that it can be turned in and approved by the state. So we can do however it turns out to do. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to be that way or it's not going to be that way. But we're not, that's where we're at right now. And then if we can do 3% on everybody else that's hourly, okay.
So are you talking crossing guard, IDAC coordinator,
Yes.
Who?
Deputy
Why
marshal.
not coordinate?
IDAC?
It's deputy marshals. And then take this hourly stipend for salary or for clothing and add that in to the base salary of $28. Well, that's and we
So-
do because we're gonna do away with
So we're doing $28.29
the uniform allowance.
times the 3%.
Uniform allowance for who?
I mean, the 3% increase.
The deputy part-time marshals
Oh,
each get 29 cents an hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry,
I say take the 28.29 plus 3%.
Okay.
Okay? Because guess what? Price of clothes is going up.
first everything's gone. I'm with you there, that's fine.
Okay? Hurry back.
Yeah, clothes allowance, that allowance. I can't even get a full pair of pants anymore.
Crossing guards, though, they're paid by shift, correct, Scott?
They are paid by shift. That's what it
Yes.
says right here.
They're not paid by the hour. And I think it's $21 a shift, if I'm not mistaken.
And a shift is how long?
Roughly a half hour.
Half hour? Once in the morning, once in the evening?
Well, 3% of $21 is $21.63.
Okay.
So they're getting a 63% raise?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous low? What do you,
Yeah, ridiculous low.
most cities, it's a volunteer job.
What's a volunteer job?
Crossing guard.
Crossing guards,
No, it's not.
a lot of places it is.
No, it's not. I work at the school district, and it is not a volunteer job.
All right, so I think the last thing we have to do then is to talk about the clerk position.
Oh, council.
Well, I would be in favor of leaving the council where it's at.
I think we need to lower.
Lower?
You can't.
Oh,
You guys tell me.
well, we didn't do this to make a living off of it. Okay? We're for the town people and the community. So I don't see where I need to make more money for.
Well,
What do
your
girls
thought?
like? Leave.
Pardon me?
I have no opinion.
I think it should, but that's just me.
You think you what?
I think it should be increased a little. It's been years since it has been. So It's just me.
Well, I'm kind of I mean, it's more time than I necessarily expected it to be, but I'm with Rocky. I didn't take the job for the whopping salary. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have it,
Yeah,
but
I'm turning it down.
mostly I took it to spend more time with Bridget and not get in trouble. So.
Well, it ain't all that easy.
Nope.
So I think we should just leave
Well,
our salaries the same.
I like to hear from Leah.
Whatever you wanna do, Rocky.
She likes to hand out them big numbers. I want to hear what her big numbers.
I like to hand out those big numbers to people that deserve them. So no, we'll leave you the same. You're welcome.
I don't deserve it.
No. No. Mulberry makes more.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not either. I'm sure. Ready to go.
Okay, so we're gonna leave the council's salary the same.
Sounds like that's what everybody is.
Okay, bring the council salary the same. All right. And, okay, so now. Elected official salary. So, I think that talking individually with everybody, the thought was that we do leave stipend for the town clerk. Is that what I understood?
I guess, I don't know.
Well, my understanding is, I mean, it's not, if tomorrow we had to replace Evan, like we've had to do with Nate now, we can base whatever they come in at based on their experience, not based on what the last person was getting. And my understanding is with the town clerk, we don't have that as the option. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So then, yeah, I mean, obviously if we had to hire a new clerk or a new clerk got elected and they did not have the same skill sets that Bridget or the last person in that role had, then it doesn't seem fair to pay them the same amount of money if we're going to have to hire. All of a sudden, we've got to hire somebody else to come in and do work as well. It seems like the stipend still gives the council, therefore the town, some control over what that individual gets paid, as opposed to it being a blanket, whatever the last person got.
I agree with that.
So do we need to budget for stipends?
Yes, because stipends are paid out of payroll.
Okay. So this year, Bridget's gross compensation for her $33,583 is the base salary, or the base amount, I guess. Then we had two stipends, each of $7,776. And then we had a $6,000 insurance stipend. That total gross compensation came to $55,153.68.
That's both stipends and the insurance?
Both stipends and insurance. So, I think that needs to be increased. The question is, how and by how much?
And what's the town clerk in other areas getting?
Again, we're gonna have to go to Mulberry. Town clerk in Mulberry is $56,149. She also there's also this office assistant that's in there, so I don't know that's somebody who.
General office assistant, these same things are utility funds, do you have a separate utility fund?
That's a good question. It could be considered the same thing. Yeah.
So, other, said hers was $50,000 basically, between.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about.
Yeah, you got 56 something and the rest 55, 135. With the state.
So, okay, so it looks like we're at least $1,000 low now. And then we want to have an increase going into next year. Again, 3% somewhere.
Well, you can only do, based on what I understood, let's just declare you can't do the 3% on all the stipends, right? You can only do it on the salary. Because if you include the salary in there to do that, then we're bound to pay the next one down.
We're not creating a salary for her, we're just doing stipends, right?
Well, so the question is, do we leave the base salary the same and then make the increase on the stipends? Or do we change the base salary to increase? Do we increase the base salary and leave the stipends the same?
Well,
or do we do a combination of those?
The 55,153, is that her base salary, or is that her base salary with the stipend?
Combined, that's the stipend.
That's gross compensation.
My base salary is $33,583.
Thank you. So I
Stipends
don't.
are 21,552.
My understanding of the idea of the stipend is that we don't mess with the base salary. So if you think, hey, the base salary is way low, and we need to upgrade that on its own line, that's a different question than what we're going to actually. That's more about the position, not necessarily the person in the position currently. So the number you gave me for Mulberry, did they do her stipends, or is that her? That's what she gets.
That's including her stipends.
Do we know what? So do we know what its base salary is?
We would know from the AIM thing that I sent out. I'll find it. So, okay, here's another way to look at this, though. I mean, we know what the gross compensation is going to be. Do we want to kick total gross compensation up and then add 3% onto that? Or do we want to leave it the same and just add 3% to it going into next year? That we need a number to budget right now. We're not necessarily figuring out what the real numbers are going to end up with. We need a number to budget.
What do did we have something on our sheet for last year, what they budgeted?
No.
No?
No, not on the appropriation report.
No. And we don't have that figure on any other sheet anywhere? What we had a budget?
Well, so under category 1, I mean, there's a portion of them, Rocky.
Right.
But then some of the stuff is paid out of the water and wastewater funds.
Right. Is that going to continue to do that?
Yes, unless you guys set it up differently, unless you structure it differently.
That's the way it's currently set up. So right now we don't have anything to compare it against, really.
Well, I'm just trying to get a budget. That's what we're doing. The salary ordinance can come later. I'm just trying to get numbers in here for the budget.
Yes. And what would you propose?
I'm not the board, Rocky, you guys are, so
I
you need to tell
understand
me
you're
that.
not bored.
I'm not, with salaries, that's on you guys. I don't make the salaries, you guys do.
Well, we're not talking salary, we're talking budget.
Yeah, we're not talking salaries.
But I just
All right,
don't
so
want
if you were to
willy-nilly
take
put
her,
numbers
if you were to take her current compensation with this year's stipends, that's where we get 55, 153, 68, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, if we take that amount and we add 3% to it, it comes out to $56,890.59. Is that correct?
I guess. I mean, like everything else, just because it's the budget doesn't mean you have to use it all.
That's right. So
So,
55, 153, 68 times 3% or times 1.03%, whichever you want to do. Make sure I'm doing it right.
plus 55, 135, 68 plus 3%. 56, 789.
56, 709 or?
56, 789.
No, I came up with a different number. I don't remember. Okay.
All right.
That's probably just me doing that.
I would like to budget, just budget it at 58, and then we'll make a decision.
I don't have a problem with that.
58.
Doesn't mean we're gonna pay that, just means that's what we're budgeting.
That's right. Yeah. Which would actually put us right in line with what Mulberry's is probably going to be 2024. Our closest comparison. So, knowing all these numbers now,
What did we budget for? What did we budget? How much did we budget for the marshal and assistant marshal? Did we have a number on that?
yeah, 73, 758, 66, 67.
73, 759,
758, 9,
759, then
60, 667.
that's less than making this year.
No.
Yeah,
58, 6.
we made 61, 865 this year.
No.
You take his base salary
Here, we did 58, 6. 58, 6.
plus his stipends.
That's it. It's 40. The base salary is 4610.
I have 54, 965.
I don't know where you got that number. You may have wrote that down off here, but this is 2023, and that was inclusive of the stipends for last year. So that's not.
So that's the same number as this.
No, that's off of the salary ordinance, our salary ordinance. This is Gateway. Do you have those numbers? The numbers that you need for this?
I have everything, yes.
You do?
Yep. So the hourly increased by 3%.
Okay. All right. What else? Anything else on this budget?
No. Other than the cable franchise fee, and that's, you get money for it, but it's basically a dormant fund, so.
The cable franchise?
Yes, so it's money that we get from Comcast and Mulberry, and it's basically, we can consider it a dormant fund and create an ordinance to start depositing that money into a general fund, and then that way it can be spent.
And what do we have an amount on that? Not a big deal, I just wondered.
But then after 2 years, it completely, moving forward, you can deposit the money in there. Then after 2 years of it being, there being dormancy, then you can transfer the money.
Are you two done? Is she-
Yes, yes.
Good. I didn't know she was still with you. All right, public comment. Could you state your name, please, and address?
Vicki Beaver, 7 Jamie Street. Do you guys feel that when you were talking these numbers for the salaries, for the budget, that it's comfortable with the town's finances?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Rocky had said that he didn't take this job, he voted in the job, but he didn't take it to make a living. But Scott did.
Okay.
And to have a member of the council say that stipends are not a guarantee, especially when that person is sitting in the room and would give his arm to protect this town, to me personally, is very offensive. And it makes me question as to whether this person's interest in the town as far as safety is concerned.
All right. Anybody else? All right, council comment?
Agreed.
Well, I have to say, and everybody has their opinion, and I'm really glad that Scott and his team are here, as somebody who's had to call for different things a couple of times, but I don't think that's what Rocky's talking about. I think Rocky is coming from a point of fiscal responsibility, not from whether we think Scott and his team are valued.
I'm not
And I'm,
imitating Rocky.
Vicki, I'm making comment, you've got your shot, that was my shot. You can rebuttal after that. But I don't think that's where Rocky's coming from. I think Rocky's coming from a point of fiscal responsibility. Again, we all have our opinions on that, and I think, but to make it I don't know, something bad against Rocky, that's not the real word to use, but something bad against Rocky is not appropriate. So I would disagree with that.
If it wasn't Rocky that I was
And
implying.
Leah, when you have your comment, you can make your comment, make your statement. Stop talking under your breath while other people are
I'm not
talking.
talking under my breath.
Okay,
Can you hear
okay,
me?
please,
I
please.
absolutely heard
Then
you.
I wasn't talking under my breath.
So the cable franchise fee balance is $36,808.96.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Leah?
Yes.
anything to say?
Mm.
Okay. Rocky?
Well, it's not like I heard what she was saying, but that's all right.
I said I agreed and I disagreed. That's all I said. I agreed with her and disagreed with him.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carla? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very comfortable meeting for everyone, I think.
I agree.
And I'm glad we have got to this point, and we shall prevail. Yeah. Meeting adjourned.
Scott, nothing personal.
Bridget?